Impressive by Gills as he just dodges the rockets. Only a small amount of splash hit him, and oh, look at this. Here's full map control. Here's the yellow armor. He's got 8 seconds to get to red, and then he's got about maybe 10 seconds,
Nice.
9 seconds after that for Mega. And Deathrow at this point might be able to steal this red. He doesn't know it's there. He finally picks it up just before he dies. Gil's actually running out of LG ammo, and so Deathrow will finally die, but pretty weak here. Oh, and Deathrow doesn't get the fortunate spawn, unfortunately. Yeah. He did get a lightning gun, but that's not very useful in this situation. He is able to grab yellow armor, and so actually we're finally seeing Deathrow go aggressive. But he botches the botches the strafe jumping, gets caught up on the wall, and now Gills knows that he's there, and he's already stolen red and gone.
And, you know, just like you said during the early part of this match, the nice thing about Deathrow here is that he's not giving anything away. Gills has a lockdown, yes, he's spending a lot of time over at YA Pillars, but he's really not giving anything away, but so much time is burned off that not getting anything at this point. I mean, we've only got 2 minutes left here, and Gills is just as stacked up as ever. Red armor for the first time will be going over to Deathrow, but unfortunately this is only a 10-minute game, and Deathrow finally finding his foot into the map. It's coming a little bit late.
Yeah, I switched over to Deathrow here just to kind of get a point of view in that battle. And, you know, quite frankly, Deathrow did do quite a bit of damage, but I have to question the weapon choices. Gills, I think, is making far superior weapon choices given the situation that he's in. And even in this, yeah, I see that, Jahar. I'll take care of that after this game, this map, rather. But, you know, really solid play. You know, the fact is, it's only a 6-frag game, and as we know in DM6, it's pretty easy to rack up spawn frags, and to Deathrow's credit, he never really gave Gills that opportunity. Every single frag that Gills has gotten has been earned, and I think that since our next place of business is going to be T7, given what we see of Deathrow, I think that he's pretty comfortable there, but I think Gills, trying to remember from the Quake Night Team Deathmatch, Gills is not a fan of T7, if I'm remembering correctly. Does that sound right to you?
I do have a faint recollection of that, and especially with the map on T7, item timing being a little bit wider between... Oh, wow. Deathrow nailing in these really nice rockets. I mean, these rails are saving Gills' ass, but looking at damage done between these two guys, it's really the stack keeping Gills alive right now. I mean, if you even everything else out, Deathrow's been getting some really nice hits in here, so we'll see if Gills can keep just as much control on T7.
Yeah, Gills with a great combo, rocket to rail, once again crippling Deathrow. We'll just do some final accuracies here. 46% rail, 28 LG for Gills. Deathrow at 33% and only 18% LG. Again, relying on that rocket launcher, I think a little bit too much, and it was quite costly. 6 to -1 is going to be our final score. As we head over to T7, 5 impressives for Gills. Very critical to mention there. Very nice.
And a very solid win for him, but really I don't think Deathrow found a way to kind of come into his own on this map. I mean, he was mentally kind of turned over from the beginning, and that was pretty much the setting and the tone of the entire match. But hey, T7 hopefully will be seeing a different story.
Before we see the F3s, let's go ahead and do a little tour of the map. In case anyone is new to Quake Live, it's kill or be killed. This is going to be a duel setup, so it's 1 man versus 1 man, and oh, actually they're not even giving me time to do any more of a tour than the last map, so forget that. We'll just have to watch it as it comes, and we're going to get the second map underway. This is the Evil Geniuses Masters Cup Series, sponsored by MSI Notebook. Gills going straight for red, yellow, and rail, searching for a rocket launcher, and will be hunting for the lightning gun, picked up initially by Deathrow. But look at this initial railgun, kind of crippling Deathrow's entrance into the red armor, as we see spawning in about 5 seconds.
Holy crap, Gills. And Deathrow just looking for an entrance, just spamming on the rockets, nothing really splashing. Gills is getting this, and yeah, That was Deathrow with one hand on the keyboard, it looked like. So Gills now taking control of the other atrium. Mega Health is going to be coming up. Deathrow is trying to find an attack here. He's going to be able to push Gills off of this. Gills finally missing a rail, and holy crap, I was not expecting Deathrow to actually get the upper hand in that, but it's going to be a short-lived upper hand unless Deathrow exits this, gets some weapons, and arms back up, because that's a small victory, but it's not going to be a sustaining one unless he gets the hell out of the room. Nice fake out by Deathrow. He could feel Gills breathing down his neck around that corner, so Gills is going to be cut out here. So now we see Mega Grab, Red Grab by Deathrow, but otherwise he's spamming a lot of rockets, not getting a lot of real damage in yet.
Well, here's the critical thing. Mega up in 3, and actually Deathrow has the position on it. He needs to force Gills out, and he does hit. Gills also trades, so Deathrow now should be able to get this Mega. But oh, he's going straight for red and doesn't do any damage. He's gonna be, oh shit, he almost jumped off. But he's able to collect that Mega. Here's the key thing though, he's low on armor, only 44 points of armor. So between the two stacks, Gills is winning, especially once he picks up some health, which he should get around this corner. Right here. There it is. Boom. So now Gills, masterful stack, and able to get back in time for red. Hopefully if he jumps straight on it, he's going to wait for it and just try to do damage. And Deathrow is just waiting for it to make his move. Gills also waiting to drop in the rocket shots, and actually does do a great shot. Deathrow losing a bit of that red armor. Not a whole lot, though. He's at 145, 145, and it catches Gills with his back turned, but he can't get the shots to connect. And Gills now able to collect the Mega Health, but Deathrow has him. He's doing the death march. Can he get the final shot? He has exactly 80 points of health and armor, Deathrow. And Gills just running away because he has no rail ammo. Gills falling in on red armor. Getting away barely with his life. Deathrow needing to restack. And look at this. He's laying traps rather than restacking. This could be his undoing. Finally, he's up to 150 health and armor.
But so is Gills, and up the top, oh, we see
no,
a small
don't go up there. Don't go up there, Deathrow.
Gills was looking for it. He's saying, come on, come on. Where's the here's Johnny? But we got red coming back up. Gills is going to have to jump in for this. It's not going to be a trap laid by Deathrow. It's just going to be a grab and screw this room. I'm getting the hell out of here. Are we going to see any damage on Mega? No, but we're going to see a little bit of rocket floating on the yellow armor. But other than that, Deathrow's, you know, he's doing some splash, but nothing really solid connecting. That being said, Gills' armor, oh! Right between the legs, and Deathrow's looking for the finisher, but if he goes too aggressive here, that could be his undoing. Missing the other rails as well as the rocket, so now LG's going to come down here, but he's going to have to break off this fight. But all that chasing, oh! Nearly left red armor open. Gills going in for it. Deathrow's just going to drop down, shoot the whoop, and Gills is still on the run. But all this chasing by Deathrow, it's really not getting him anywhere. I mean, Gills is being taken down. I don't know.
Look at the LG. Okay, LG almost saving Gills, but Deathrow with that Mega will finally get it done. And he has now tied this game up. Red armor spawning into, and Deathrow is all over it. But Gills landing a nice rocket that forced Deathrow off of the spawn. And Deathrow had that pretty well timed. But oh my god, the rockets are popping Deathrow around like he is some kind of toy. Oh, and this rocket, good lord, Deathrow is just in all kinds of trouble. Gills, worse off with only 44 points of health, is able to exit out of this room. Deathrow looking for Mega as a savior to keep him in control, but instead he's going to go strong into red and try to force Gills to make a decision. And it's going to be Deathrow. Oh, no! Crap, he missed the Mega.
That's going to be costly.
But that's safe, though. It's going to shave off some time. Gills will get red armor cleanly, though. That's the difference.
And red's still up.
Oh my god! Gills, Gills left up red! He was too cautious.
Oh my god.
He left it up and has gone down. And Gills finally just doing the little plus back plus rockets equals frag. Deathrow getting a little bit too aggressive in that situation as Gills stacks up to a near 50 armor.
Yeah, seeing a little bit of plus forward happy with the rockets really cost him on that one. That was a point where he made a solid frag, and the timing was such that he needed to take the time to get control back of the map. And now, with it being left open after the comeback frag from Gills, now he's got Mega, YA, quite a bit of a stack here. And all Deathrow has to work with is the red armor and a few shards. But other than that, Gills has gotten the better end of that stick. Red's back up.
Yes, it's the happy stick.
And
Deathrow,
Gills it leaves it back up. His rocket's lagging behind quite a bit here. That one was way off, finally getting some damage in otherwise. But Deathrow's going to be able to nail in a nice rail.
Oh, what a beautiful combo. That's the kill.
Rocket, rail.
There you go. Death Row
He's playing
getting
that
it
shit
done,
like DDR.
3-2. And he's got time to get back to red. He's got to be cautious about getting rained down. Oh, it's actually going to be blue balls to the rescue for Gills, shaving off every last bit of armor. 18 health, 9 health for Death Row as he gets the frag, but he is so weak here, and Gills should know this and just should go for a masterful frag instead. He's just going to back off. But I disagree with this. He should be, going plus forward as he turns the corner. He walks into Death Row's rocket. And another beautiful combo.